Okay, let's look at the instance of operator. Make sure it's lowercase o. Idea is when you have multiple objects according to hierarchy, you may like to group them together or subgroup them. Then you should be able to process it in 2 different groups or 3 different groups. That way it's going to be more flexible instead of processing individual objects. Let me just draw a simple hierarchy of people. We have a person superclass and then 2 subclasses, say students, and then 2 subclasses of students, and then employee, which is subclass of a person, and then has 2 subclasses called faculty and staff. Very typical example of university. Okay, let me make them as all classes. Then I will put some sort of hierarchy. So person is superclass of student and employee. Then student has 2 subclasses, undergraduate and graduate. Employee has 2 subclasses. So let's look at instance of A classes. So let's focus on object. Undergraduate student number 1, graduate student number 1 and 2. Let's say staff member 1, 2, so the question is here, when undergraduate students approach to our system, how do we identify that these students happen to be undergraduate or graduate, or that person is a faculty or staff member? There might be something we can do to identify who they are. Of course, according to students, we can say student code, and then employee may have an employee ID, so that we should be able to identify. So in terms of objects, we can identify, it depends on class type. Then in terms of output, we like to print student code or employee ID. Okay, let's create a project and I will demonstrate how instance of operator can be used with inheritance. Let me create multiple classes. Let's start with person. Let me add at least one data field called name. Then toString method. So this is going to be superclass. Next one, student. student code. Let me say student code is a string value, so double quotation, that will be default value. To string method. Here super to string, invoke super class to string methods, so that we can print person's name. Next one, we will go ahead with undergraduate. Something unique so that we can print. Let's say major. Okay, and two string methods. This time I will do graduate. Unknown. Two string methods to invoke superclass two string method. We are going to have employee. Let's say each employee has some sort of identification called ID. That's employee identification code, one number. Two string methods. Two more to go, faculty. Okay, here I'll put some sort of academic ranking, assistant professor as a default value. Two string method. Super two string. Last one called start. Let's say we don't have anything here. So let me introduce some sort of hierarchy. Extends students. Let me go back. Students. Extend person. Extend students. extend person, and faculty student staff make it as subclasses of employee. Let's add at least 2 string method. That's okay. Again, support not 2 strings, so we know where we are when we process this object. Okay. Let me use array list so that I can store people's object and process it with the instance of operator. Again, we need to say the class type. I'm going to use a super class type, means super type. Import array list on the Java util. Let me construct at least one object for each classes according to hierarchy of people at the university. So here let me add a constructor just in case I may not to use a person's name. So 2 constructors, one default, another one with 1 parameter. Okay. Maybe I'll leave it as it is now. Just use a default constructor. Undergraduate student object. Then graduate student object. Employee object. Last one is staff object. I think I need to change to be ST1, I guess, because we have S1 already. So for now, let me repeat 6 times, isn't it? So I will say P1, S1, should be ST1 and S1, okay. So we add 7 objects to the list. We can process it one by one. So here we can use get I. That's going to return object, so we can print as a toString. So we are printing all objects here. So we can see everything, the person, students and undergraduate, graduates, and then employee and faculty and then staff. Okay, let me add some more data so that we can identify certain objects with values. Let's say undergraduate as major, IT. Graduate student has okay, that one with AI. Employee, I may set actually just default value. Faculty staff, maybe I will start with the initial, then set the value in order, like F001, S001. So now you can see student ID, and then here major, and then faculty ID and staff ID. Let's go back to our main topic, instance of operator. Let's say, what if you want to print certain objects? For example, employee objects, either is faculty or staff of this university. So we can say that list.get I, that's going to return objects in the instance of employee, because employee is a support type of faculty and staff. Let me comment it out for this, just in case. So we are looking at list get I, list of all objects. So first object, for example, S1. Eventually say EE1 using get ID. So if you here, we won't be able to use get ID because get ID belongs to employee. Okay, but the first object is S1. So what we want to do is we have to identify objects has to be employee type. Then we are going to use the get ID. If it's an employee type or faculty or staff, we have access to a superclass or its own subclass methods. So we can use get ID. Casting an object from superclass, in this case employee, to subclass. Either it's a faculty or staff. Okay. Then we can print on our console. Okay, let's see. This time it's going to print either employee object or faculty or staff. Basically print super type and then subtype of employee. So that's what we had. Employee has default value. Faculty 001, staff 001. If you can, please try for student object. So so according to line number 38 to 44, we have 7 objects. So we have a reference variable called list, point to array list, simple data structure. And then P1, that's object of reference variable of person type. Referring to person class. And then maybe I'll do one more. So if you look at here, F1 reference to faculty class. Again, please try by yourself, pretty much same. So if you copy and paste it, instead of looking at employee, you can focus on student. And then you're going to process undergraduate and graduate students. This time we are going to print only student code based on whether it's undergraduate or graduate object. That should be there. Okay. Seems okay, so change to student. So supposed to be students. That will be subtype undergraduate and then graduate. Here we should be able to access getCode. Okay. So let me add student code so that it will be easier to identify. So U001, here I may say G001 graduate students as an initial G. So let's say if else, if they are not students of this university or employee, and we don't do anything, basically system won't process it. So according to that, we have student object, undergraduate, graduate, employee object, and faculty and staff object. That's how we use instance of operator, which is quite useful when you process multiple objects according to some sort of hierarchy. Okay. Let me quickly have a look whether there is any mistake, usually typo. Seems okay. That should be casting. ST, same story. Everything seems okay. That's all. Thank you.